What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Press X Podcast, episode 144, your weekly podcast for gaming news and opinions coming at you each and every Monday until episode 150, where the world may or may not end. We'll have to see. I'm Kevin McManus. With me, Nick Hassell.
It'd be a really unremarkable way for the world to end.
They're just like, ooh, this show's over. It's time to call it quits. So not too much news, some interesting stuff, but not a vast amount of news.
Sure.
I think what we've been playing are going to be much more interesting for this particular episode. And like I said, episode 150, ending it all. Mm-hmm. Go out with a bang. We'll figure it out.
Hopefully not a real bang.
Maybe.
Just theoretical bang.
It depends. So let's just start by jumping into what we've been playing. Now, do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
You go first so I can sleep through this first bit.
Okay. You guys, let me tell you something. You know me, I love Mega Man, and on October 2nd, I believe, the Game of the Year came out, which is super, super exciting. And that game is Astro Rescue Mission for VR. Oh my gosh. I could not believe how good this VR game is. It took me away from Mega Man 11, which is really saying something as such a Mega Man fan. This Astrobot Rescue Mission it's not really a demo, but there is like a proof of concept, I guess, that is free on the Playroom for PlayStation VR owners. You can basically play kind of like a level of the game, or what a level would be like. These levels are way better. Yeah. But like what a level would be like for it. And so I played that, and you played that too, and I tell almost everybody that plays VR, I like to give them a different range of things to play. I'm like, play this first-person shooter, see how you feel about it. Some people are like, this is amazing. Some people are like, I don't like it. Play this driving game. Play this racing game, you know? That seems to get a lot of people because that's super relatable to real life.
Yeah, because they probably drove here to play. So,
but my thing has always been, and like people just don't get it, but third person is where VR is best. The whole like diorama world thing, and Moss did such a good job of that. But Moss knew that things looked like a diorama, so they're like, let's make it a mouse, and let's make it a story, like a pop-up storybook, and they kind of played with that idea. This game doesn't feel like a diorama. It feels like you got sucked into a Super Mario game, and it is so awesome. I think it is as good as Mario games. It is really, really, really good, and I was not expecting it to be this good. I knew it would be like... I knew it would be good in that like I would have fun with it and like collect the things and stuff. It is so well put together. The first thing that caught my attention was the music. Yeah. It has like catchy, poppy, like almost retro inspired music, which is something you need if you're going to do a game like this. I did not think they were going to be capable of doing that. I thought they were going to go, I'll talk about Mega Man 11 soon, but I thought they were going to go the more Mega Man 11 route where it's more like ambient. And, you know, it's just not this, like, poppy tune.
I don't even remember the music from the demo. I don't know if they even bothered putting any.
They had music in the demo that was good, but, like, the music in this is great. It fits the worlds. Like, they jump you around, like, you know, they have, like, the ice and the fire, and they're jumping you around all these worlds like you would expect. It's built like a Mario game in that it's World 1-1, World 1-2, World 1-3. You rescue these robots as you go through them. Some of them are hidden, some of them are pretty obvious, and you basically kick them and they fly into your controller and you capture them. And then you get to near the end of the world, you get to a door, and like you need a certain number of robots to break down that door to go fight these incredible boss fights where you as a player are part of the world. And so you're interacting with the world in a lot of ways, and some of it's stuff that they did in the demo and some of it's new. So like, for instance, you have your controller that you can like catch the guys that you're trying to rescue, but you can also fling the touchpad and shoot out a grappling rope to hook something. Your character can jump on it, and then you can like fling him up in the air by lifting the controller, and he'll go flying, and you can get to higher ledges, things like that. You can throw shurikens out of the controller and hit enemies, or build platforms for your guys to jump up. You can use your head, so like there's certain enemies that shoot at you, like you, and not your character. And if it hits you, it kind of like inks you, like in Mario Kart. So your visor's all messed up, so you have to like shake your head to clear it off. But you can also just like dodge them shooting at you because you're part of the world. They have tons of secrets where you move around, you look around, you stand up, and you can look down at something and be like, oh, there's a robot down there, or oh, there's a ledge that you could actually catch yourself on and grab. They have like an upgrade system where you find chests, and that's what kind of gives you your powers. They have a bonus. You collect these coins, and then they have a bonus room where you can put all the robots that you've rescued into one room, and this is where it's more like a diorama. You put them all into one room, and you can kind of design the room, and you use the coins to like unlock stuff and like get pieces for it, and you can set it to like I was talking about earlier, like a fire setting or whatever. It's kind of like playing around with the robots, which is really cool. I'm actually blown away by how good this game was. The camera tracking works really well, which is something that people had trouble with in the demo, and like I don't know, because I didn't have trouble with it in the demo, but the first time I did it, I was like, this is a little weird, because the camera feels like a dolly, so it's moving, but you're not moving. It doesn't like bob like a real person, so it's kind of just like feels like you're tracking or you're floating in, and that was strange for me in the demo. It took me like 30 seconds to get it. And in this game, it didn't bother me at all, but I don't know if that's just because I'm used to it already from doing the demo. But man, they throw you at the VR like scale in this game is incredible. The opening of the game is you in space, and there's the ship with the robots that you're going to eventually have to rescue, and something happens to them, and you see them like flying all over, and they really get in your face. The villain of the game like gets in your face, and like you feel the scale. You feel like a little teeny thing in this big universe, and that's what's great about VR. It is absolutely incredible. I think it has a 90 on Metacritic right now, which is kind of insane for a VR only like platforming game. But they just knocked it out of the park, and like things that a lot of games like this fail at, like the menus and just the presentation and like the way your controller looks when it's just floating in space so you can see where the controller is, and then like you get an upgrade and it glows, and like the world like pulses and you can see the wireframe of the world, and then it's back, and just like little things like that look like they put a lot of money into making this game look amazing. It's incredible. It is a really good probably my favorite VR game, I would say. This and Resident Evil 7 I think are the two best. I think this is better than Skyrim.
But this is pure VR. Like
pure VR, VR only. VR only. And this game would not be that fun if not in VR, because a lot of the cool stuff that happens is so VR focused, where you're looking down over something and you notice something down there and you can send your guy down there to go get it. And there's a lot of parts where it feels like you're walking, so you can picture like a construction site. It feels like you're walking on like a girder or whatever, and then there's ones above you, and you're controlling the guy like walking above you while you're navigating the one in front of you, and there's like things that you have to hit with your head or whatever to get them out of the way of your buddy that's going by. Like, it is really cool. They play with a lot of ideas, and they keep building on those ideas like a Mario game does. And yeah, I think it's as good as like a Mario Galaxy or something along those lines. It is really, really, really solid, and I am super impressed.
Seems like it would be hard to review, and like it feels like there's a new genre, I guess, for reviews, because you don't think about like, interactivity as far as like being able to stand up and look around stuff. Does it look good, or does it feel good like that? So there's like a whole new field of points, I guess.
Yeah, that's what's cool. Consider. It feels new. Yeah. Like, it feels like a new thing that I haven't done. And Moss had this stuff, but Moss was also that, like, storybook aesthetic, so it kind of had this groundedness, diorama talk, like I was saying. Like, everything looks small, and you kind of felt like more like a god. In this, you feel like somebody who is helping the robot, but you're still part of the adventure, more so than an overlooker, or the reader, I think they call you in Moss. Like, you really do feel like Lakitu, I guess, in Mario 64. Okay. Like, it would be like if Lakitu was playable and Mario were playable at the same time. That's kind of how this feels. It's really, really cool. Just whenever a level loads up, I'm constantly looking around, looking behind me, like seeing what secrets are. Like, the game looks really good. They did the cartoon aesthetic great. Just the animations and stuff that the characters do when they jump on your controller and they wave at you, they just want your attention. And there's hidden robots that remind me of Kellen, because when you find them, I think I don't know if there's one in each level or whatever, but there's always one robot that like looks like he doesn't want to be found, and he's always lounging, laying down with his arm up. And he's always like just hidden somewhere stupid, like under a rock or something like that, just lounging around. It's really, really, really good. I'm super impressed.
I'm surprised. I know I don't even know if you remember, but like back when I played the original tech demo of it, I played that game maybe third or fourth out of the entire catalog.
Yeah, you played a lot. You definitely played the most of the people that I was like showing VR.
Yeah, I played that game. I was like, they should just make that into the full game, and just like moved on.
Yeah,
because I was like, this seems like a really good concept. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. So it's cool that they can kind of put a game. Oh yeah. They listened. You're welcome.
They listened.
You're welcome, everyone. But no, like they can do something like that where maybe Astrobots doesn't have like the charm of a Mario or insert platformer here, but the fact that you can get all these other areas, like I said, these kind of like hidden categories, nods in a lot of areas that Mario and all these other games can't or haven't ever been able to do. It's pretty cool that they can compete on the same
it is
sort of field.
It is actually incredible. Like, I put it on going, I'll just like play a level, see how it is, and I was just blasting. I was having such a good time, and I was doing the thing where there's tons of hidden things, like there's hidden chameleons that like blend in with the level that you can find. There's coins. There's all the robots, so they tell you how many robots are in each level, and you want to try to find all of them because that unlocks more levels.
Basically
there's
just sounds like
challenge
Mario.
levels. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
It is unbelievably good, and they're really smart about the way, like, they introduce the first enemies, which you can just punch, and then they introduce ones that when you get near them, they turn into spike balls, so if you just try to run up and punch them, you'll die, so you gotta be careful of that. Then they introduce ones that are electric, and you have to, like, when you jump, you kind of hover, and your feet shoot little streams, which is really smart because that tells you where in space you are. So if somebody's above you, you can see the streams, falling down, and when they're not there, you're going to land on a platform and not, your death. So like they just did really smart things like that, and if you hover over them, it shuts off the electric field that the people have, and then you can punch them or whatever. Like they start with a small concept, and they just every level or two, they add a new twist to it, and then when you get to the later stuff, they're putting all that stuff together, like for boss fights and things. One of the boss fights that they showed off, I just think it's so cool, is a monkey that it's on a rooftop. He's huge. Once again, you're teeny, so you feel intimidated by him. And when he punches the ground, there's like these fire rings that shoot out as happens with video games. And he bites down onto the level, and when he's biting down, you can punch his teeth and like break them. So you break a tooth, and then he gets up, and he uses like a tooth ring, and then you use the controller to fling the grappling hook into the ring, and you rip his tooth out, and then he gets mad, and you keep going, and you need to like remove all of his teeth, and every time he does it, he's like faster, and there's twists, like there's more fire rings that come out, or he'll do it in a different pattern. It's just a 3D platformer in VR, and it's exactly what I wanted, and it's just as good as I thought that it would be if they were to make it like that. And I thought it would feel way more half-assed than it is, and it is not. This is from the production value of the cutscenes to the, just the controls and how things look in the world. Like, nothing looks cheap. They did a great job of making you feel like you're in the world, et cetera, et cetera. It's so good. So good. Anyway, that's Astrobot Rescue Mission. Absolute must-get for VR. And they have a bundle now that comes with Moss and Rescue Mission, which is a really good bundle. Highly recommended that. Other than that, I've been playing Mega Man 11. So Mega Man 11 is good. It's very good. I don't think it's as good as like 9, when 9 they took like the huge break from PlayStation 1 8, and then on PS3 they put out 9, and it was like, I think, one of the best 3 Mega Man games. 9 in the top 3 probably. I think this is more like a bottom half Mega Man game, but I still think it's really good. The art style works really well for the game. There is the, like the weirdness to the run cycle, and some of the jumps are just harder to figure out because it is in 3D technically. It's that 2.5D aesthetic. So like there is a few jumps that are a little bit tricky to make, but they add the 2 new mechanics of the game, which one is the ability to slow down time for a short amount of time, and the other one is to make you stronger. Basically, your attacks do more damage for a short amount of time. And you're not required to use it. You can totally get through the game not using it. It's just going to be way harder. But they make a lot of like pixel perfect. I guess I shouldn't really say pixel, but they make a lot of like perfect jumps that if you slow down time, you can make them fairly easily. But if you don't, you're going to have a hard time. And it
turns into Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, it took me like 2 or 3 levels before I was like, oh yeah, I can just slow down time. Like there's traps where the back wall is all spikes and something's moving towards it and you need to jump and make all these jumps before the spikes hit you. But if you just slow down time, it's not that hard.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like there's things like that. There's a lot of really cool experimentation in the game. Like I don't want to spoil too many of them, but if you get the ice weapon, you can do stuff on the fire level with the ice weapon that changes how the level works, which I thought was really neat. And they have that for a lot of levels. You can use the abilities in different ways, not just to kill things, but also to affect hazards in the level, which I really like. The weapons that you get is probably my biggest compliment to this game. The 8 Robot Master weapons are basically all busted. Like they're all really, really good. And I think that that's really cool. It's got, like, they are the same variations of weapons that you always get in Mega Man games, but in this one, like, you get a shield in most Mega Man games, and it's just the shield that circles you, and you can...
like a bubble shield?
Yeah, it's actually, it's like an acid shield. And it circles you, and if projectiles were to hit you, it stops them. But then they have this cool thing where you can use that like power up your gun mechanic, and if you shoot the shield after you do that, it's stronger, so you can actually just run through enemies and the projectiles. You shoot these bouncy balls that bounce everywhere, and if you do the power up version, it shoots 6 of them instead of 3, and you can just keep shooting them, and the screen's just filled with all these like particle effects and stuff. That's the most impressive part of the game, is just they have so much stuff going on the screen because they can, that the particle effects of everything dying and exploding is awesome. As far as just the core Mega Man mechanics, I think that it is, your average Mega Man game. I don't think that they do anything too crazy. They don't seem to take risks very much. There's only 1 or 2 levels that I feel like have areas where I'm like, ooh, I don't think they should have designed it like that. And it's typically because they expect you to use the slowdown mechanic. I'm like, I don't know, like just really tight jumps. But overall, I think it is actually very pretty average Mega Man game. Pretty meaning aesthetically pretty. Average Mega Man game. And I definitely think it's worth getting and worth playing. For sure. The Robot Masters are really cool, though, because they have a lot of personality to them, which is not something they've really been able to do with the 8-bit aesthetic and the 16-bit aesthetic. So they have voice acting, and it's like this kind of cheesy over-the-top stuff. But
go figure.
Yeah, there's one that one of the Robot Masters I actually really like. He's a Tundra Man, and he's an ice skater. And he just ice skates around, and he's very flamboyant, and I very much enjoy his... I enjoyed the battle with him a lot. But yeah, overall, a very good, I would say, probably... there's 11 of them. I would probably rank it around 7 overall. That'd be
probably a nice breath of fresh air after those collection games that you forced yourself to finish. So... those got so weird. Actually, it was a little bit strange because of playing X, which plays so differently because there's wall jumping and dash jumping. Like, I was trying to dash jump so much in this game when I first started, and I'm like, I gotta get that out of my mind. Especially because now the aesthetic sort of looks more like that than the other one. Oh, the other cool thing that they do, so they just kind of like made Mighty Number 9, but they kind of did a lot of stuff better, and that's really what this felt like. It's Mighty Number 9. It has all the particle effects that Mighty Number 9 tried to do, but like the game doesn't blow up when it's doing them. Yeah. It has voice acting that's like this cheesy Saturday morning voice acting, but like it comes off as intentional and not like they messed up. But the other cute thing is like just the animations in the cutscenes that they do. They have their voice acting and everything, but in Mighty Number 9 they were just static. They didn't have lip sync. It was just people standing still, and like that was one of the presentation in that game was so bad. Yeah. And this game really, I think, did what that was trying to do with its presentation and everything. Just really cute animations and stuff for the cutscenes. And it came out relatively when they said it would. So.
Oh, yeah. They were like, hey, it's coming this year. Hey, it's coming this date. And here it is. Yeah. It's incredible. We still don't have... I was actually thinking about that the other day. Mighty Number 9 never came to Switch. Probably never going to. Very interesting.
Rest in peace.
Also never came to Vita. Going to assume not going there either. But anyway... Yeah, Mega Man 11. If you like platformers, if you like Mega Man, you already have it. If you like platformers, I definitely think it's worth getting, worth playing through. My biggest complaint with the formula that they messed with, and like the thing that I don't like that they did, is all 8 levels have a mini boss in the middle of the level.
That's weird.
I don't like it. Like, and you get the special weapons that like can just destroy them. You can kill them in like 2 or 3 hits if you have the correct special weapon to take on the mini boss. But there's really only 2 maybe that I feel like made sense in the level. There's one level that's really cool that's like a carnival, and you're going through, and then the mini boss is a roller coaster, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool and thematic and makes sense. But a lot of them, like, you're just walking around and whatever, and they're like, and it's a giant frog. And I'm like, why? Why is there a giant frog?
You almost pulled a me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's weird to throw sub bosses in a boss rush game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, a lot of the Mega Man games have mini bosses. It's not new to the game, but usually it's this like that's kind of the gimmick of the level.
Yeah,
is that level has mini bosses. And in this one, no, all 8 levels each have their own mini boss. And that's the only thing in the game besides I think that the music is probably the worst of the Mega Man songs. And I really do think it's just because that 8-bit, 16-bit soundtrack's way more catchy than, what they're doing here. But, yeah, the mini boss thing actually bothered me. And some of the levels are a little bit long, like longer than they should be. But you can, if you just go and like watch somebody speedrun some of these levels now, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's because I'm bad. Oh. Like you can really avoid and like skip a lot of stuff. It's just figuring out how to do it, and that's kind of the fun of all good side scrollers is when you watch somebody really good play and you learn all the stuff, and you're like, oh, these things die in one hit to this, and if I jump up here, I can skip the section and all that stuff. Learning that stuff is part of the fun. So anyway, yeah, Mega Man 11, definitely worth it if you like Mega Man. Definitely worth it if you like platformers. Not going to change your mind if you don't. That's it. That's what I've been playing. And then I've been playing Fortnite, but I don't need to talk about it.
Oh, sure. I guess it's been a while since I've been on here. About a month, it feels like, or a few weeks at least. So I guess I've got a few more games than usual because I've been in video game like grind mode. Yeah. Just because of everything that's been out and what's, I guess, on the video game horizon. Spider-Man, since the last time I was here, finished it, 100% platinumed it. I'm not much of a platinumer, I guess. I know when I kind of did the switch from 360 over to PS4, I guess I left my achievement kind of tracking thing behind. I never really like cared too much anymore, even though achievements back in the day super cared about it. I would go way, way, way out of my way to make sure that I finish games and get at least the maximum amount as far as not having to play like 1,000 matches online of something I didn't like get behind.
No, yeah, I get that. Even Mega Man 11, like I looked at the trophies, and it seems like I'm gonna have to beat it 3 times. It's like beat it on the I'm playing it on the 3rd hardest difficulty of 4.
Yeah.
It's like beat it on the 3rd hardest, beat it on the 4th hardest, and then the other one's like beat it in less than an hour without using items or something like that. And it's like, okay, obviously you do that one on the easiest one, so you can just kind of breeze through it. But like even me, I'm like I've platinumed every Mega Man game that's come out. And I platinum most side scrollers like the Shantae games and Shovel Knight and stuff. And Mega Man 11, I'm like, man, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna do it, but like,
there's plenty of other things to do right now.
Want to?
Yeah. Not much to add on the Spider-Man game on top of what me, Craig, and probably others have already said about it. Really just enjoyed the world and their approach to the Spider-Man story. Obviously now with 3 sets of movies and now this, there's lots of different ways to go on top of animated series and comics and all that. Really like this one. It fit really well, especially with what the Infamous guys are kind of used to doing. It kind of...
So Ratchet and Clank team. Infamous is doing Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive guys are doing Spider-Man. But it looks like an Infamous game for sure.
I think that's why. Yeah. But yeah, really like it. There's just the things they need to fix on and improve with further iterations or expansions or whatever their plan is with it are very obvious. Just like right out there. I don't think it's anything super technical. Game flows well, game plays well, combat's well. Like all of the, what I would imagine as a non-developer, all of the hard stuff to fix is all good. It's just simple like design choices and breaking up the action to make you do like stealth missions as not Spider-Man, and it's just like
I've heard a lot of people not like that.
I'd just rather play Spider-Man, thanks. Like, you know, if I
hard.
if I want to do some of this other stuff, then make it optional, I guess.
That's how I always feel in game. I talk about it a lot, and it's part of the reason I don't like first-person shooters, is because they always have a mission where they're like, escort this car through the tank mission. And I'm like, I don't want to. I just want to shoot the thing.
Yeah.
That's why Doom's cool.
Yeah, the only ones I like out of that are Halo, just because it just does the big grand finale of like everything explodes, drive out of here. Oh god.
Yeah, Halo's a little weird because the vehicles in that game are good.
Yeah. But yeah, really obvious fixes that they can make. Just quit the force, like stealth stuff. Make it a little less grindy to get everything you wanted. I didn't have the worst time grinding through, unlocking everything, getting 100%, but I also didn't really have the best time doing it.
Yeah.
And for me, once again, I know we did it before, a big video game sin for me is this game starts off with saying, you know, I've been Spider-Man for 8 years. The hardest part of the game was the first 10% for me. Same thing as God of War, where the hardest part was the beginning, and he's been
when you don't have power.
He's been a big muscly man for how long? I don't like that. I like if it's an origin game. It's like, oh, I'm weak as shit. I'm a teenager. Like, okay, cool, but like you're a very well established superhero or god or whatever in these games, and you need to kind of feel that. So yeah, the first couple hours were difficult, and then like by the end, it doesn't feel like something I should have unlocked 100%. Like usually you need all the abilities or all of the stat points, and you can feel like you can take on the final guy. No, like I felt like I could probably have beaten that like 3 hours in with just a handful of abilities. But yeah, the beginning when you're just like, oh, all I can do is like shoot webs and punch and kick. Then yeah, it's tough.
I've been Spider-Man for 8 years, and it's been a real rough 8 years.
Like he had amnesia or something. I don't know why he forgot all of these cool abilities, but at least they did it in a cool way. It's like, oh, cool, I unlocked this tech, and oh, I guess I can do this now with these abilities. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel right that you're so strong going into the game, and then like the first guy just kicks your ass, and then you're like, okay, well, now I can fight 4 villains or 5 villains or 6 villains all at once, but I couldn't have beaten that one guy by myself before.
I got you.
Next game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I kind of flew through this one once Spider-Man was off my plate.
You finished it?
Yeah.
See, I did not finish this game yet. I have played it more. I feel like I talked enough about it, though, so I don't really have too much to add. I'm going to finish it. I enjoy it. But too many things coming out, and I just saw The World Ends With You is coming out. It's a problem. It's a problem. Red Dead, this is bad.
Yeah, it's like all of this right now kind of takes me back to spring of last year. Yeah. Where I guess in my best comparison is like, you know, the exit's coming up, but you forget how close it is, and you're like, oh shit, and then you have to like almost wipe out trying to take it. So yeah, like with this one, with some of these other games coming out, I was like, I've got no time to finish this, so let's go. Pedal to the metal. Finished it. It's not too incredibly long. I think the point of it is, like we've talked about before, not really Metroidvania, but like going back through and like, oh, I've got the thing that can unlock this now, or I've got the thing that can break down this barrier now.
Every tomb I go into, it's like, you don't have the upgrade to do this. And I'm like, that is frustrating.
I wish they would tell you at the start of the tomb.
Yeah, sometimes you get, like, you do all the platforming stuff to get there, and then you get to the door, and it's like, you need a knife. Okay. I guess so.
Really liked the puzzles, and the story wasn't bad. Level design was really good. I liked the level design. Yeah. It was pretty fun overall for me. I never got to the point where I was just like super into it, but you know, I enjoyed it enough to finish it.
Did you? And you obviously got to the part, but do you know what part I was talking about where I said the combat and the mechanics, like the healing mechanics and stuff, make more sense?
No,
you don't know it. Okay.
I was like looking for it. I was like. And I was thinking about it too, like actively going, what did he see? But I guess we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
It's just combat is what kind of fell through for me. Like there's such a discrepancy between stealth combat, which is really fun and rewarding, and sticking in, you know, wiping the mud all over you, sticking into the vines, being stealthy versus like action shooter, which is just like, I think I've said it before too. I almost felt like just reloading my save to before that and just like trying it again.
That's interesting. Yeah, see, I like them both pretty evenly now.
Really?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
But yeah, finished it. Not bad. Kind of what I expected. So more of a par for the course sort of game. Glad I played it, bought it, all that stuff. I think I'm ready for either like a break from the series or for them to like do something new.
I think this is definitely break time for them.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm interested to see where they go with it, but I think they need to distance, for me at least, distance themselves from Uncharted and kind of do something else. I don't really know what that is.
I was saying last week, I don't know if you listened to it all last week, but I was saying about it last week. I think like its strength is it's the way it takes your abilities that you use and implements them also into the platforming and puzzles, which is something Uncharted's terrible at. Where like in Uncharted, you walk into a room and it's like, all right, it's puzzle time. And you're just like walking around like doing the puzzle. Whereas Tomb Raider, you're still using all your abilities that you've been using the whole game to solve the puzzles. Like you're still using your bow and arrow and your guns and all your pickaxe and your knives. Like you're still using everything that you've been using. It's just you're stuck and you need to figure out how to get through. And I think that's what it does the best. On top of the fact that the puzzles are just infinitely better than Uncharted's puzzles, but.
Dragon Quest 11. I've put like dozens of hours into this now. I know kind of at the start I was like, I played a couple hours, but now some of the other games have been cleared off. I put, like I said, dozens more hours into this. Got the full party now, got all the characters, liking it a lot more. The further I go in, so that's a good sign for long Japanese games to me. Like if you kind of liked it and then it dipped, then you're like, do I need to spend the next 80 hours playing this, or can I move to something else? Really cool mod for this game that makes it really necessary, and that's not something I get to say too much about games that like a mod is necessary for a game. For whatever reason, I don't know the story behind it, don't really care about the story behind it, but a lot of the music in the PC version, like this series is known for using, I forget the name of the orchestra, but a very live orchestra to play all their music. Their music's always, ranked high. People love it, well received. But the PC version at least has just like this dopey, like really crappy version of all of it.
Really?
So you have to use this. Yeah. Oops. You have to use a mod that like basically just gets all that music and it plays it over. I guess you sort of just like replace sound files with it, but you get the actual like established track music. So beefs it back up for me because I was like, man, this music's like okay, I guess, for like a 1998 game, but like what's all the buzz about? Because like I said before, it's my first Dragon Quest. I knew about it, but I've just never kind of jumped into it. So it's like, why is this music like what people?
You know what you just reminded me of? The pre-order bonus for this thing was retro music. I need to go cash that in. Crap, maybe then I'll like it.
Yeah, so I was just like, man, what's all the buzz about this? Like, am I missing something? Or people just like got super nostalgia? But yeah, once I played that, I was like, oh, this music's really good. Basically, it's like taking a live orchestra version and then like symphonic, just like think of like an electric piano or something like that, just trying to like recreate it. Doesn't sound too hot here. The real orchestra, amazing. So aside from that, my only knock against the game that can't be solved with mods, I guess, is that coming from Spider-Man, coming from a couple or one of these other games I'll mention here in a second, the world feels real empty. There's lots of enemies running around, but like when you're in towns and stuff, there's like 12 people on the street. Versus Spider-Man, where there's just, you see thousands of people just walking, doing their daily thing. You see like 20 enemies pop up, all shooting at you and doing, whatever. Like Spider-Man was a real busy world, and that's kind of the technical marvel of the game is that they, like, how do they pack all that into a disc? Versus this, where lush environments, all that, lots of enemies, but like it's just kind of like dead. Like, where is everyone?
I feel like that's a JRPG thing.
Yeah,
I can't think of too many JRPGs that are like these super packed worlds.
Hustle and bustle,
and the ones that I do, I don't really like Lightning Returns, the Final Fantasy 13-3. Those worlds, for a PS3 game especially, felt way more alive, but also that game was poo-poo garbage, so...
But yeah, loving the combat, loving like how I've leveled up. the story's really cool. The areas are really cool. It's just not very densely packed. I don't know where everyone's at. Maybe I'll find them at some point. For this week, though, this week was super jam-packed, full of stuff. Forza Horizon 4 came out. Once again, I don't know if I could just do a list and what Forza main series does wrong that Forza Horizon does right. I just don't get it. But Horizon games are just so much better for me, at least.
I think everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, this is another one, sort of like you were talking about with Astro. I think it's 92 Metacritic or something like that.
Right. I mean, that is Microsoft's consistent franchise. Yeah. It is their MLB The Show is kind of what I'd compare it to.
Or their Gran Turismo.
Well, I mean, MLB The Show's yearly. It comes out every year. And it's always a good game.
Yeah.
I think Forza is always a great game.
Yeah. It's weird for me because I know there's plenty of franchises that do maybe 2 developers or just do a main and a spinoff and a main and a spinoff, sort of like Call of Duty was with Treyarch versus
Infinity Ward and
usually I always tend to side with the main series, and the spinoff is just okay, I needed it. I kind of needed this, but this one's weird in the fact that I like the spinoff infinitely more than Forza. But yeah, graphics are crazy. The weather and this is the one where it can switch into autumn, winter. Yeah. All that is just crazy. I can't believe it looks so good. We're getting to the point where again I'm getting I'm not playing it in 4K because it's on PC and I haven't built that up yet. I am kind of interested. What if I did throw it in my Xbox, sort of thing. But man, the game's just beautiful. Music's real good. I still like the interactivity with it's another one of those games with a DJ over the radio and he's talking to you hey, blah blah blah. But they know your name in this one. There's a lot more customization in this where you create your guy, you can give him outfits, you can give him a home. So it's really I don't know, they're just beefing up everything. Sure. So they're making it more personable and not just drive here, drive here, drive here, drive here. So I don't know, man. Game's really hot, and I love it. And I would love to spend about 20 or 30 more hours in the game, but I don't know if I will get to with everything that's coming out. But it's a fallback game right now. I think it's number 1 on the list of, obviously there's tons of RPGs to continue to play. Red Dead seems like it's going to be a long game. Whenever I jump into Xenoblade, that's a long game. This will be my fallback. Okay, enough grinding, enough role-playing. Let me drive some cars.
Sure.
And probably my favorite game so far on the list that I'm mentioning today, Assassin's Creed
better.
Odyssey.
Really?
Yeah. I did not think I would like this game as much, but I just kind of took a chance on it because I liked the previous version so much, and I knew this built off of it. Sort of like a new series or franchise for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. They just kept the name.
Yeah. But so many of the things that they added make this almost a completely different game. I'm almost ready to call this the best Assassin's Creed, and I've maybe put 8 hours into it.
That's interesting, because I don't know if you read the article. Assassin's Creed, what is it, Odyssey?
Odyssey, yeah.
One? Gets good after 15 hours.
Really?
That's what Kotaku told me. I think it was Kotaku.
But no, there's so much. I mean, obviously on top of, pick the man or the woman. And like I said before, I think it's 9-1 as far as male protagonist versus female in Assassin's Creed games before this one. I think there's only been one.
There's been Evie Fry from Syndicate, and there's been
2.
I think her name's Elaine. I don't know, the girl from the Vita one.
That's okay. I didn't think about that one. Okay, yeah. So heavy unbalance there, at least.
Sure.
So I picked Cassandra, the girl. Having a blast with her. She's awesome. I really like her personality. And obviously with the dialogue system, you can kind of choose which kind of direction you want her to go. As far as the personality, you can be sweet and nice or just kind of ruthless. Mm-hmm. And always go ruthless in those choices at least. And it's pretty cool because already in a short amount of time, and what I'm guessing is a 30, 40, 50 hour game, if you really want to go nuts,
and we do.
I've already had an experience where I chose kind of a ruthless option, and I finished a mission, got back and started talking to someone and very naturally, not just you could tell someone hit play on the scene button and it shifted into it. Mm-hmm. Very naturally, we were in a conversation about, kind of wrapping up a mission, talking about what happened. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, before we go, I know you wanted to go here, but we could go back here because something bad happened because, and then like your character, or at least mine, went, oh, yeah, so I guess that guy was right, and I killed the guy. Backstory. So it felt really natural and cool, and not just like where you can almost see the scene change, and it's like, this is the result of your... so it was really cool.
Yeah.
How that like just kind of flowed in. Other new additions to the game, it's almost like a Shadow of War sort of, or Shadow of Mordor, sort of system where there's like a mercenary system.
Okay.
Your character, I would imagine the guy is as well, is a mercenary, and you're well established kind of in your one little island, but obviously you're spanning all through ancient Greece in this game. So when you're going through, like, you have the option to steal, and if people see you, like, your bounty goes up. So think maybe like a wanted level, I guess, for Grand Theft Auto. But the higher that goes, it has sort of milestones in it. And if you reach certain thresholds, mercenaries start coming after you. And there's like a whole menu on it. It's sort of like I said, Shadow of Mordor, in that you can see the mercenary who's tracking you. You can see what he's weak against, what he's good at, sort of like what his abilities are. And he will just interrupt your missions or activities or anything that you're doing. Like, you can be sitting here kind of sparring off a few guys, and then, it'll be like, Kevin, the mercenary, has shown up. Ooh. And you're just like, what? And then this big hulking man or woman jumps down, and they've got like a flaming spear. And
Kevin,
just
the
like,
woman, shows up.
Hey, man. But anyways, yeah, they jump down and they can just come out of nowhere, whether you're doing anything or not. And even in story mission or like main mission kind of deals, they'll just jump in. So it's really cool. It's a nice balance because you can pay off certain people or kill certain people to reduce that wanted level. So it's like a nice little balance between like how far do I want to veer off sort of the beaten path, and how many people do I want to piss off? Because I've had like up to 3 mercenaries show up at once. They're always higher level than me. They always have sweet gear.
That's cool.
And,
like that.
I'm sitting here shooting like a flaming arrow at this guy who's weak to it, but this guy like gets rage off of it or something. So I'll hit him and he'll come charging it. It's a lot to deal with at once. So it mixes up just kind of the stale, 1v1 combat. Oh, I countered you. I stabbed you. Oh, you swung again. Parry, just kind of breaks up the monotony that Assassin's Creed can get into with combat, and it keeps you on your toes. So that's really cool. And yeah, like on top of that, looks awesome, plays well. I think I enjoy Greece the most out of all of the Assassin's Creed like timelines that they've done so far.
Yeah,
maybe as much American Revolution. I think that was 4. 3. I really like that time period too, but this one's probably the most fun for me so far. And yeah, the dialogue system, making it more like a BioWare game for all intents and purposes, always gets a free point for me.
Yeah, I want to play this one in a year when it's $8.
Mm-hmm.
I Origins interests me, but this one just seems like better Origins.
Yeah,
I guess. But like I just don't feel like that rush to go get it. It's interesting. They kept the Assassin's Creed name because that instantly guarantees it's a success. But like if they didn't keep the Assassin's Creed name, like if this was a new franchise, I might be playing it right now, which is
there
crappy.
Is most games that I've played. I think I've played most, if not the Vita one and Syndicate are the only 2 I haven't played.
The ones I've played. Cool.
Yeah.
cool.
They all kind of follow the pattern of, you get to a story point and then it's like, now you are an assassin, sort of thing. Maybe that's the 15-hour mark that Kotaku is talking about, but like it doesn't have that sort of route to it. Like you said, it's just kind of like a really cool game and then Assassin's Creed kind of tacked on. So I'm not seeing the Assassin's Creed part on top. Other than you can jump from ledges and stab people, and there's still the synchronization of getting to the high point, the eagle noise, and then you jump into a haystack or a bush.
How do you compare it to 4? I really liked 4. 4 was
the cool thing about that versus 4 is that there's the naval aspect of this game is really bumped up because I've
yeah?
already had huge naval fights out on the sea. And there's
Remember that Skull and Bones game? Where's that?
It's here, baby. Like the sea combat's really awesome. And I've built that up. You've gathered little like lieutenants and stuff like that, and you can choose. Do I want to shoot like flaming arrows? Do I want to ram the shit out of the ship? Stuff like that. And when you destroy the other ship, there's like a mini game of sorts where it's like a boarding party. So you pull up next to it, you jump the ship, defeat all the people, get some cool treasure, jump back on, the boat sinks.
Oh yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm really loving this game, and it's kind of caught me off guard because I stopped paying attention to it after, choice between male and female protagonists. Okay, cool. Dialogue system. Okay, I'm in.
Gotcha.
Here's my money, and I'll quit paying attention. Then, I'm sure they talked about all this stuff, maybe.
I'm sure.
But I just didn't pay attention, and each little new system that shows up, I was like, oh, this is amazing. So
that's cool. I'm glad you like it so much.
Yeah. So that's it for what I've been playing.
45 minutes later. That's it, guys. That's all we've been playing. All right, let's jump into the news. Let's do it fairly quickly. Speaking of jumping, we got Jump Force news.
Mm-hmm.
They have added Yugi Moto. I think we've known for a little bit that Yugi's showing up, but they showed his trailer.
Yeah, this game's weird in the fact that they'll announce 3 and then at an event they'll be like, here's the trailer for all of them. So the trailer versus usually we get that with sort of Dragon Ball games. Here's the Shonen Jump magazine, and here's page 38 where it shows maybe the new Dragon Ball character, and then the next day you get a trailer. This is a month later, but it was worth the wait, at least.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I don't know. Not a big anime guy.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen quite a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! From my youth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know the Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is an E for everyone, at least in our territory, anime. That is very friendly anime. So it was cool to see Yugi kind of being a badass and fighting these other people, like Goku and stuff, calling out his card people to fight for him. Real neat. I still don't know exactly how the multiplayer is going to work on this game. I feel like it's going to be you need 2 copies of the game and all that stuff. But
that would be better if your character has the full screen. I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like Dissidia.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like that. Anyway, I don't really have an interest in getting this game myself or anything. I know you do.
Oh yeah.
And if we do,
there will be a copy.
Yeah. I will at least check out Yugi Moto. Yeah. Do some fights with Dark Magician Girl. You know what I mean? Next up in the news, it has been announced that there will be no PlayStation Experience this year. So this has been kind of rumored just because they normally announce it by now, and it has not been announced. Sean Layton has explained that the decision is because there wasn't really much reason to host the show this year. The reason behind that is we are making a lot of progress on our games, and now that Spider-Man is out the door, we're looking into 2019. We have Dreams, we have Days Gone, but we wouldn't have enough to bring all the people together in one location in North America. We don't want to set our expectations high and not deliver on them. So, no PSX confirmed.
That sucks.
It does suck, especially because it seems like more and more, I think that kind of their problem was PSX was too awesome. They started PSX and there was this amazing thing where they showed off The Last of Us 2 and they showed off Uncharted Lost Legacy. They're showing off big games. And then they had the one the next year and they had all these big games as well. And then they did the next year and it was we don't have that much to show you, but we're just going to talk to you guys for a little bit. And that was cool. If you were there, I'm sure it was awesome. I think for PlayStation fans, it was still cool. For outside media, they're this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of didn't do any of their promises from there. Where is Medieval?
No.
Where is Medieval? The name changes, which we're going to get to soon. They talked about that there. Where's the stuff? And I think they just don't want that to happen again. So they're oh, we're not going to do it. But I feel you could still do PSX and just not do a press conference. You could be hey, we're going to do PSX. Everybody can come here. We're showing you come in and you get to play. Well, I guess they don't want people to play. It's starting to make sense. Mm-hmm. They can't let people play Last of Us. That's not going to happen. They're not going to play Death Stranding. They're not going to let them play Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
So the only cool games left for them to play are Dreams and Days Gone. That doesn't sound too exciting. Mm-hmm. Now it's making more sense. They just don't have stuff to let people play early.
Yeah.
There's some VR stuff Blood and Truth, the London studio game is cool and stuff, but I guess it makes sense now.
I don't know. I feel that's one thing. If you can't have like the experience part where you're having people come out and play the games, but at least like some stage show or something.
Like
I feel
Nintendo Direct
I feel like the stuff that was jammed into their E3, like obviously they went in saying we're going to talk about these 4 games. Yeah. And then they talked about it, and then all of a sudden there was this like mad rush of trailers and stuff that came in, and it felt real disjointed because of that, because they said they were going to do this, they stuck to it, and then all of a sudden, we're not going to show you any trailers, and then trailers start showing up. I feel like it would have been so much better, because it's a lot closer to the 20th anniversary of Resident Evil 2, if they had just shown that at Experience and just gone available in a month.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Like, I think they could have done all of those announcements at PSX.
Sure.
Resident Evil would be playable at this point.
A lot of it was like Call of Duty, though, which obviously wouldn't work. They had... What else did I think they had a Fortnite trailer for some reason. I don't know.
I almost wish that everyone, kind of had a direct style presentation that they did.
Me too. Xbox is, just to add on to the news, Xbox is doing a live, like,
they're basically
type thing.
Having an Xbox experience.
For,
experience.
I think it's like 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm excited to see what that's about.
That's why I'm not too bummed about PlayStation not having them, because Microsoft already said they're having their X experience.
And then on top of that, just to keep adding to the news, Kind of Funny, the YouTube channel, said that they want to fill that void, and they asked developers to send them any trailers that they would have wanted to show and stuff, and they apparently have like a packed show of stuff that they're going to reveal. So that's cool. So they're doing a press conference.
And don't forget the Game Awards, which,
that's true. The Game Awards
have
probably
been
better
increasingly been more watchable, especially with certain guests that come on.
How do they feel about the Oscars?
It is getting increasingly more watchable, even though there's still plenty of down points and kind of head scratch decisions, like let's announce a ton of stuff before the show starts, or like casually during commercial break. But I think Keeley is getting there.
Oh yeah, he's trying his darndest.
So I think really he's getting a little bit better, and I think each year it gets a little like a step above where it was the previous year. So I think that gets better.
But how do you feel about best soundtrack? Are you still bitter?
I think that's let someone kind of funny swoop in and do like something a little more casual, and a little bit more community oriented, because obviously with the Sean Laytons and whoever else on stage, there's still like kind of a disparagement, I guess, between like us and them. But like if you get some kind of relatable nerds up there,
I always love, because people watch. I think it was at PSX last year. People like watch, whoever it is on stage, and they're trying to be your friend, but they're also being corporate, like. And one of my favorites was Neil Druckmann from the head of The Last of Us 2 was on stage, and he's like, somebody asked him a question. Or asked somebody a question, I think, and they deferred to Neil because they were scared they were going to like spoil something. And he's just like, yeah, well, there's new types of infected in the game. And he goes, can I say that? He's like, fuck it. There's new infected in the game. Like, they don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, when you've already got an established like channel and you're already relatable and you've shown that, then it's a lot easier to kind of sell yourself on that. And no worries about sort of the PS4 Pro presentation where it's just like numbers and statistics. No worries about that and something like that. So yeah, Microsoft swooping in probably builds them up a little bit depending on what they show.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Microsoft.
Obviously, they have something. I don't think they would have just. I don't think they like heard about it early on and knew. Obviously, Sony didn't think Tuesday. We'll probably cancel it. Like they knew.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft knew and they're like, let's grab a couple of the third parties that might have wanted to show something, and then let's put together this teaser for Fable, and that might be enough.
That, and there's all those studios that they bought too. Maybe those guys have something to show. So
maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. Are you ready? Bold prediction. At the show, they give away Hellblade for free to everybody.
Hellblade?
To everybody that has Games with Gold or whatever. That's my prediction for that show. Just because they bought that studio.
Maybe they give Crackdown away as an apology.
Man, they should do something with Crackdown.
But yeah, I think they got something cooking in the oven, and yeah, people like Kinda Funny can swoop in who have plenty of connections, and I think Game Awards is going to be a little bit better. So if we have to sacrifice one to get 3 cool events,
I'm fine with that.
Sure,
I'm fine with that. Just kind of tacking on the PSN name changes, which were announced last year at PSX. They said by PSX next year. I hope that you won't have to ask us about it. Well, there's no PSX, so I guess.
Weird way to deliver on a promise.
Yeah. But apparently the rumor is that a lot of developers have been talking to the press about, things behind the scenes, and Sony has been working with these developers about the name change that is coming soon, just to be able to deal with it, to be able to fix the leaderboards that are probably going to break when all these names start changing on them. The problem allegedly was that Sony doesn't know how to make an online system, and instead of making your name, like if I make an account, I'm 00001 and you're 0002,
but it's just displayed as Kevin and Nick. Yeah,
right. But my thing is the number. They messed up and made like my name the account, and your name the account. So like when you try to change that, you're breaking literally everything because that's your actual name in the system.
Basically, from what like I understand is, if you think about it in like a computer folder, and you type the wrong destination in there, and it gives you an error like that's, or even like a web page, like that's not a real web page. It's just because instead of like bookmarking it and just calling it press X or something, and then taking you to a hyperlink, this one's just like,
that's a good way to put it.
It is just like, nope, you changed one character in it, completely wrong.
It breaks everything. So I've heard that this might break PlayStation 3 and Vita. Like it might just not be compatible with PS3 and Vita stuff, so it'll be PS4 forward. Your name will be different, and like it might make it so that you can't get trophies anymore on those things. Like there is probably a downside to this name change, but we'll have to see. I don't really think about it, but when the PS4 came out, I think right before or right as it came out, I made a new PSN account. Like I have 2 PSN accounts that are both level 20 plus because you can't change your name. And I was like, I want this other name. I'm just going to make a new account. And I did it. So like I had hundreds of games on that other account that are just sitting there. I would love to be able to put them together, but no can do, I guess.
Probably not.
They can't figure out how to change the name. There's no way they're going to figure out how to merge accounts.
They honestly probably just need to redo their system.
Well,
maybe that's the announcement.
They did with PS4. Yeah. The problem is it looks like it might break the previous systems, and that might just be something they're willing to do when the PS5 is out. They're like, nobody's going to care about the PS3.
Yeah.
Whatever. Next up, quick news. A new Switch model is rumored to be releasing in 2019. Apparently, this rumor started a long time ago. I'm not a computer guy because I'm not a fucking nerd, but there's some processor chip or something in the Switch that was kind of outdated, and they already had newer versions of it, and people speculated that they are already working on another version of the Switch with those in it, and apparently that's true from talking to people. I think it was the Wall Street Journal that did some investigating into this, and it seems like it's set to come out in 2019. I assume I think this is not quite a PS4 Pro, not quite a new 3DS situation, but I think it's just more similar to like the VR upgrade that they did, where they're like, oh, it's a little bit faster.
I think
it's a little bit more friendly.
It's going to be purely quality of life.
Yeah.
So I'm calling it the XL only because that's just kind of like their history of naming things, at least for the past few handhelds.
The new Switch.
Yeah. Or the new XL Switch. Sort of sounds like a fast food menu.
I mean, that's literally the new 3DS XL. Yeah. They did that. I don't know why, but they did that.
So I think it's going to be called that just to kind of keep, repetition and uniform names across systems. But I think it's just going to be a little bit beefier in the battery department. Maybe I don't think it's really going to clear up like 720p versus 1080p. I don't really see that. But yeah, I think it's just better battery life, maybe a few other little quality of life changes with the actual system itself, and maybe a better sort of adaptation to their online system. I don't really know what else they could do aside from make it look better.
I basically agree. I think it'll have
maybe more storage space too.
Sure, I think it'll be more storage. It might be just faster processing, like the games will load a little bit quicker, things like that, and definitely longer battery life.
Yeah.
And I would love, honestly, because my biggest complaint about the Switch, well, that's not true. My biggest complaint about the Switch is that it doesn't have Netflix, probably. That's like the thing that drives me crazy about it. But
yeah,
anyway,
maybe like a media type center in it.
Gosh. But that the kickstand and stuff, like just the location and how it's like off center instead of just being like, you could have just made that bigger and it would have been okay. Like stuff like that. I don't know. I would be interested in getting one though if the changes are significant enough. I like the Switch enough that I'm like, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down
Well,
to
the
do
cool
that.
thing is, assuming it still works with the same controllers
you
and
could
attachments.
Just buy the
if you can
screen
just buy that, it'd be much better cost savings than because accessories is where this
you could just be
system
like
kills
$150.
Yeah.
You get just the Switch screen thing. You already have a dock. You have a charger. You have controllers. That's all you need.
I would imagine what I'm thinking. It wouldn't
Nintendo won't
be.
do that.
It wouldn't be bigger because it's already big enough, like width, I guess. But
God, don't make it bigger.
maybe thicker and a new dock for it. That's
See, I hope they don't do that, but I
yeah.
can see that happening.
I think that's the extent of where they would go with it. Is a little bit thicker because obviously you got more beef, I guess, in the parts department and battery, and make the dock, obviously the new dock or whatever. But then that would make Joy-Cons not fit. I don't know. It's weird.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
There's smart people over there sometimes.
I guess.
Next up. A new Kingdom Hearts game has been announced. Oh boy. This is Kingdom Hearts, the story so far, and it's coming October 30th, so pretty soon. This is a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and it is Kingdom Hearts, literally 9 Kingdom Hearts games in one package on PS4 for you to catch up to the story so that you can play Kingdom Hearts 3 and not be super confused. Cool. I don't need this, obviously, because I have the 2 separated versions. I think it's launching at $40, which is really nice. For all 9 games, it's actually pretty incredible. Good for for PlayStation gamers. This needs to come to X. I'm still so confused about the Kingdom Hearts 3 Xbox thing, but whatever. Cool.
Seems like it just needs to be a video, just sort of catch you up.
Well, 3 of them are videos.
Yeah.
They're 3-hour-long recaps with like the cutscenes and stuff. It's a whole thing. I don't want to talk about it right now.
Or just a Disney movie package.
I mean,
just watch the movies.
That's close. Finally, I want to talk about the November PlayStation Plus games that have leaked. Basically, somebody hit a button early. That's what it seems like. Their website updated. They just put up the October games, and like a day or two later, they put up the November games, which was clearly a mistake. Somebody's fired.
Oops.
Yeah. So Yakuza Kiwami, which is the remake of Yakuza, is going to be free, which is amazing because that is the perfect free game. Something that I'm really not sure if I would like this, but I've heard good things about it. Those are the best free games. And then Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, which is that the game with Duke Nukem?
Yes.
I think it is.
I don't know. I never played this game.
You can.
I almost did, but just kind of pulled back and said, I don't know why I would spend money for this. So probably the same thing that people would say about Yakuza. I've seen some cool things. The karaoke looks really fun, but you just can't quite pull the trigger. Now, here it is.
I mean, I'm excited for November, apparently, if these are the games.
It from the pictures I guess I saw in the screenshots, it looked very official and just like someone just did an oops.
Yeah.
I don't think people would go to that extent for Yakuza and Bulletstorm, but you never know.
Speaking of oopses and attempts, let's actually hit this piece of news, which is the Harry Potter game that leaked. I do think we should talk about that one. Oops, a couple minute video of this Harry Potter Wizarding World game,
action RPG.
Yeah, action RPG. Like create your character, get sorted into one of the houses, Ravenclaw, and do whatever they do in the Harry Potter world with their magic and their stuff. It seems like I don't want to call it Batman because it is way more RPG than the Batman games.
Cool one to compare it to are some of the old Lord of the Rings games.
Okay.
Because those are also kind of movie rights adapted into an action RPG. You can play, as your Legolas or your Gandalf or your whoever. And it's sort of the same thing. Obviously, much different between now and like mid 2000s, I think, is when those games came out. But same concept of maybe exploring alternate little storylines, or maybe there's a cool event and you can play it from this sort of angle. But
yeah, it seems like it takes place. I'm not sure. I've seen Harry Potter, but I don't know. It seems like it takes place before the actual like Harry Potter events, which gives them a lot of freedom to do cool stuff. They're not tied in to the movies. You're just a character in that world. Like they have everything set up going for them that this could be awesome for Harry Potter fans and non-Harry Potter fans, which is cool. I'm happy that it looks like the people that love Harry Potter are finally getting a game that's like, I mean, honestly, like the PlayStation 1 games and stuff aren't bad, but like it seems like they're finally getting a like full AAA Spider-Man style thing for Harry Potter, which is neat for
that would be cool if this game did sort of open the door for a lot of like a lot of movie rights or comic to movie.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Arkham Batman games, which I think were killing it, and then I don't think they got ran into the ground. I think they're all good.
Yeah.
But like there was kind of a lot of them, and it kind of felt like they were like, we don't know what to do besides Batman. Like you could, and there's rumors that they're doing like Suicide Squad and all this stuff. But like, yeah, then we get the Spider-Mans. We're getting Avengers. Like it's happening. It's happening. It's exciting. So yeah, Harry Potter. I'm totally down. As not a big Harry Potter fan, I think the world is cool. I think that's about it. I think the world is cool.
At least
I'm
as
interested.
far as playing a game would go, I mean, just the fact that, you get from what little I understand, like not really recruited, but you go to a school, you get to choose your little path of which house you want to join. There's different people, like, that is very game-like as far as like different paths and ways you can explore stuff. And maybe adding like replayability, like, oh, what if I had gone to this house or not been a stupid wizard or something, or a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah, there's a lot to explore. I'm sad that this leaked because it would have been an awesome E3 moment. People would have lost their minds.
And from like the people that kind of jumped onto the leak, it also kind of sounds like they have an idea for just a bunch of games. As far as Harry Potter goes. So, yeah, I feel like that was in a direct or a conference or something somewhere, and I don't know how it would have got leaked, but
it happened.
Yeah,
and it's sure not a fake leak. There's a lot. No. There's a lot going on.
Looks pretty sweet. I guess
it looks good. It definitely looks good. Let's move into a quick question. So, who are our favorite developers and publishers?
Yeah,
give some examples with games. So I really have two that come to mind, and I think that they're interesting because the reasons I like them are kind of different. I'll say like week one is just Capcom because I love the Mega Man games. Yeah. I love the side scrolling, all that stuff. So that's kind of like to me like a cop out when I'm like, oh, they make like one series that I really like, so I like them. I mean, they do the Resident Evil, obviously, which is a big deal.
They do the Resident Evil.
Yeah, which is a big deal. But they also do things that I'm like not like Street Fighter, like stuff that I'm not that hot on. So I really like Capcom. And then there's easy answers where I feel like Naughty Dog is, I love the Uncharted games. I love the Crash Bandicoot games. I love the Jak and Daxter games that I've played. Haven't played them all. And I love The Last of Us. So obviously I like Naughty Dog. But my choice is Studio Japan.
Yeah.
For many reasons, and I don't know if you know Studio Japan too well, but I'm going to give you some of their games, and I know you like some of these games, so
you know nothing.
But their catalog is extremely diverse, lots of different types of games, and I love a lot of them.
Yeah, that's what I think makes a good either developer or publisher is that you got your kind of hands in a lot of pots, and you can do a lot of different things. Like obviously, there's some people. Sure, they can make a fighting game, or they can make an action game, but that one kind of blemish is just like let's just stick to what you know.
Yeah. So here's some Studio Japan games and why I like them. So they did Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Yeah.
They've done Everybody's Golf. They did Gravity Rush, Gravity Rush 2, The Last Guardian, which is a game I like very much, Bloodborne, a little-known gem, Freedom Wars, which is one of my favorite Vita games. They did Knack, which I like Knack.
It exists.
Puppeteer, which is a fantastic 2D platformer that not enough people talk about, where you're this puppet boy who collects these heads, and when you put them on, they give you different powers. Really, really good, like 2D side scroller. They've done this game called Shadow of the Colossus, which some people are pretty big on.
What's that game?
Patapon, Loco Roco, Siren, which is a series that I very much like, done by the person who did Gravity Rush and also Silent Hill. So games that I like very much. I never talked about it on the show. I'll talk about it next week. I played Siren for the first time, actually. I haven't played it. I bought it, and I was like, I can't wait to play this, and then it went on sale. I bought it on PS2, and then it went on sale on PS4 like 2 days later, and I was like, mother... So I bought it on PS4, and I actually played the PS4 version, but I haven't talked about it, so that's interesting. Maybe I'll do that next
I just
week.
did that recently, too, where I played a game that I should have for a while, and it's already on the top 10, like, all-time list.
Interesting.
But I just didn't want to bring it up in this context because we might talk about it someday.
Yeah, we might. Folklore, which is an interesting, like, action RPG. Ape Escape, like, Ico, obviously. The Legend of Dragoon, like, these are really good games.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really solid resume. And just of diverse, obviously Japanese, is Studio Japan, but like very diverse, different games ranging from awesome like gameplay to just amazingly artistic games like Rain, which is a really cool one where you're this kid who can only be seen when you're walking out in the rain. Just real cool stuff. Every time their logo appears on something, I am instantly interested in what they're in what they're doing. So I think I'd pick Studio Japan.
Hard to argue with most of the games on that list, and you're right, I do like some of them. I'm gonna just stick to the big obvious ones. I don't really have too many like niche picks, I guess, but with these, like if it didn't have, I probably could have gone into like 10 franchises with some of these, but just kind of picking them, no real like order. Bethesda lately, obviously they just kind of had Fallout, Elder Scrolls for a while, but now, I mean, they're pretty beefy. Even last year, I said they're probably my favorite active developer just as far as quantity of quality.
Sure.
So, I mean, for me, it's Elder Scrolls, Doom, Wolfenstein, Prey, Dishonored. Like, all those games are very highly regarded, if not Metascore, at least, like, public reception, if not both. And obviously, if they've got enough franchises to continuously each year have an E3 stage, like obviously they're doing something right if they got that many games to show off. Rockstar, I guess, because it's on everyone's mind with Red Dead showing up. Like Red Dead, like Grand Theft Auto, like Max Payne. I might like Max Payne more than those, like classic Max Payne, just because that was just
tabletop tennis or whatever.
Once again, a blemish. Not many people perfect, but Bully, also another game I really, really like. Midnight Club. They can do something that's not action RPG.
They did Midnight Club.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Really like Midnight Club. Another one, Capcom. This is one I can name a bunch of franchises, none of them being Mega Man, but Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright Games, Devil May Cry, Marvel vs. Capcom up to Infinity or Infinite, whatever it is. Okami.
Okay.
All aboard. Resident Evil, duh. Street Fighter, duh. Really like those games. I'm going to mention BioWare. I don't want to mention E3, so I'm just going to stick developer, I guess, or at least when they published. Baldur's Gate, really love that game from back when. If you've ever heard me talk about Divinity on here, Original Sin, that's why I really like classic RPGs every now and then. Obviously, I think games are doing it right now with the Odysseys of the world, the Breath of the Wild, the Witcher, all that type stuff. I think this is where RPGs need to be, but it's nice every handful of years to go back and kind of get that classic feel with just new technology, I guess. But really like that. Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, like that's the like top tier for me, at least as far as sticking, like sort of like you said, when you see that logo pop up on a box, even back then when it was like, what is this Jade Empire thing? But you see BioWare or Star Wars, I like Star Wars, and then you see that on the box and it's like Knights of the Old Republic. It's like, oh, so it always kind of cemented like this is going to be quality before you even put it in, or you don't have to really watch a trailer for it because it's awesome. We'll see what happens with Anthem, I guess, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah,
probably
EA might have ruined that seal of approval.
Probably the publisher with the most amount of franchises that I like, and I limited it to just writing 6 just because I could go on forever almost.
Mm-hmm.
Sega.
Okay.
Shenmue.
They got a lot of bad ones, though.
They do have a lot of bad ones.
They're all called Sonic the Hedgehog.
And I didn't put Sonic on this list.
Sega.
So if you're taking like an average score with all these, they're not the top, but they have so many good ones on top of so many lousy ones.
I like some Sega stuff. Yeah.
Shenmue, Yakuza, Bayonetta.
Okay.
Jet Set.
Yeah.
Persona.
Oh, they bought the... Okay.
Yeah, because
Sure.
Atlas is under them. And Phantasy Star for me. Were my
they have Dreams, too, I think, right?
For my heavy hitters. If it's real.
Not that Dreams.
But yeah, just like many...
Nights. Dreams tonight. Yeah, sorry. My bad. Jester, man.
Yeah, there's some subsidiary work in there that makes it, all come out well, I guess, for Sega on my list on the end. But yeah, there's just like so many games on all of these that I'm just like, man, Sega, where are you at? Because maybe someday we'll do a Dreamcast list too. But I was really on the Sega train for a long, long time. So
they have a cool kart racing game coming out, so they're doing something.
Also,
I guess they own like Atlas, but they're kind of just like, you just keep doing you.
Yeah.
We just want the money.
Through some technicalities, they made it. But it's nice because not many of these have really taken like dips. Like I said, Bethesda was just kind of there for a while, and now they're where they're at. Capcom took a huge dip, but maybe they shuffled some personnel around. Maybe they had some meetings, and then people really like Devil May Cry.
I feel bad not mentioning Atlas just separately. Yeah, the Personas, the Catherines, even like some weird, like they have a lot of weird survival horror stuff. Like I think they did Rule of Roses.
We almost made it one podcast without mentioning Persona. But here I am. But yeah, like Capcom took a huge dip, and then now... they're correcting some things with Street Fighter. It's still not where it ought to be. But, with some of the games, franchises that they're bringing back or doing remasters of or whatever you want to call what they're doing to Resident Evil 2, they're getting it again. Like someone went like, oh, yeah, this is how we make money than fans. So it's nice to see some of these, I guess, ghosts of the past coming back. And, there's obviously... other publishers like Nintendo that always just kind of stay up on top.
Square
SIE
put out infinite, amazing
Yeah.
JRPGs and stuff, but they also put out a lot of stinkers too.
Oh yeah, they get involved in some pretty questionable stuff. I think it's just like they stamp a bunch of good stuff and someone slips in a bad one. Like, let's just keep going.
All right, let's move into the game releases and then get out of here. So, some interesting releases. Good list here. We're going to start with Disgaea 1 Complete, coming to PS4 and Switch October 9th. I did not know that this was a thing. I did not know this was coming out this year. Yeah. Like, I remember hearing about it, but I did not realize it was this close.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Sure. I like some Disgaea.
Sure. Next up, WWE 2K19, PS4, Xbox One, PC, coming October 9th. No Switch edition. If you remember, last year, 2K18... delayed for the Switch, came out like in December, right by the end of the year, and was awful.
Played like actual ass.
Yeah, it was actually just terrible. So maybe they've given up. I don't know. Next up, The Occupation coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, October 9th. Cool.
It's there.
Mark of the Ninja Remastered, which a lot of people are excited for.
Oh, yeah.
PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, October 9th. A lot of Switch stuff. Child of Light coming to the Switch October 11th. That's cool. Child of Light, very good game. It's like kind of like a South Park or something. It's like an 8-hour RPG that feels like a full RPG, just like sped up. Not a lot of grind, like kind of a set number of enemies. So the grinding is like, I don't want to say deliberate, but they kind of planned out your path and how you're going to level up and how things are going to work. It's a cute, like, fairy tale story. It all rhymes. Played it on Vita. Definitely worth getting. Luigi's Mansion is coming to the 3DS for some reason. October 12th.
I didn't like it was going to play that well on
Dude,
there.
I just want this on Switch.
Yeah.
If this was on Switch, I'd be buying it. Like, I would order it. And especially because they announced Luigi's Mansion 3. Like, these have to be be to Switch soon.
Yeah, I think they're just going to do the Bayonetta style packaging with it. Here's the download code, and here's the disc.
The World Ends With You.
Cartridge.
Final Remix. I didn't realize they gave it a Kingdom Hearts title. Coming to the Switch October 12th. I'm excited for this. Been wanting to play that game forever. Been looking for it. Like, I don't want to buy it online because I'm cheap. And I don't care enough about the DS to like buy a DS game off eBay or something. So I've like looked in pawn shops and stuff just trying to find it. And then they announced this and I just gave up. I'm like, this is way better.
I would play this if, sort of game, if I had the system or, emulator or whatever blank you want to.
But they're doing the Switch thing. They added the co-op mode and all the stuff. So the original game, lots of touchscreen controls. They worked through that. We'll see how it goes. And then the big one, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, PS4, Xbox One, PC, coming October 12th with the Battle Royale Blackout mode. And we'll see what that does with streaming and such.
Got a lot of views when the beta was around, so we'll see if
that's how everything.
If that was
goes,
just a like, ooh, this is something new versus like this is something I'll continually watch.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the PUBG players. I don't think Fortnite cares very much.
Sure.
I think PUBG should care because it just seems like a better working PUBG. It seemed cool.
Yeah, well, it seems like PUBG with cool stuff to do. Like, I can just go and play deathmatch now.
Oh, good shooting mechanics.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stable frame rate.
Yeah. Don't fall through the map. Oh, what a disaster. Anyway, that's it for the releases. And that's also it for this episode of the Press X Podcast. Thank you for being here, Nick.
Sure thing.
And thank you guys so much for watching. We will speak with you next time.